Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome back to Fallen London. Today we're going to be having a look at July's exceptional story, Dernier Cri. As always, before we start, these spoilers ahead. If you want to play these yourselves, please support Failbetter by becoming an exceptional friend. Not only do you get access to these exceptional stories, you also get an extra candle, a larger deck, more outfit slots and various other little bits and pieces. And if you want to support me, there's a coffee page somewhere around. Please like and subscribe. All of those normal things. Without further ado, let's jump in. An immaculately coiffed woman, the Persistent Prognosticator, sweeps past you in the street. She pauses and reverses her course to look you up and down. Her gaze lingers on your collar and cuffs. As she steps from side to side, coattails glide in her wake. Please excuse my curiosity, my lady. You have a striking personal style. Provocative, confident, I might say, dashing. Oh, I totally agree. One doesn't like to boast, but of course. She gives a small nod. No affection, of course. She steps around and examines your rear with a tailor's eye. I've recently invested in the Abreo Couture house. You may not have encountered our designs before. We sell largely to surface boutiques and a few private clients in London. For the upcoming season, we are looking for new ideas and have an idea to get them from outside the industry. Perhaps you could help us. I'm meeting the ambassador now, but I'll be at the Westminster Hotel for a few days. I hope you will drop by. As you try to place her accent, she sweeps off. The Westminster, she said? It does do very good tea. Your exquisite personal style has been recognised at last. Well, let's have tea at the Westminster. The hotel lounge affords a leisurely view of the stolen river, ruined only by the occasional steamer belching smoke. Inside, uniformed staff pass in decorous haste. The Persistent Prognosticator joins you, instructing a waiter without breaking stride. He sits, exhales, and smiles. How good of you to come. Do you have any questions for me? What clothing does the Abreo create? Formal gowns or classic suits? Good question. The Abreo name is known throughout Europe for quality, original pieces infused with the mysteries of the Neathy. Although it has produced both formal gowns and classic suits in the past, Abreo is now associated with a more adventurous and innovative style. Our typical client would be a forward-looking royal or a captain of industry who wants their ensemble to reflect their entrepreneurial sensibilities. Sourcing it from London just adds a little je ne sais quoi, if you'll forgive my linguistic catastrophe. Okay, and what would your role be? The Neathy has taught you to be adaptable. The prognosticator regards you for a moment, teacup in hand. The original idea was to employ a consultant, but I've thought about this. The existing design staff need a shake-up, and they won't get that from somebody whose ideas they can ignore. So, a temporary role as head of design. You'll assume creative control for 1 season, 3 new lines. The scale of our operation means the themes have already been announced, but you'll have flexibility within those themes. I hope you'll surprise us all. Oh dear. And does she often invest in fashion? It seems a polite way to ask if she knows what she's doing. The prognosticator regards you for a moment before plucking a chouquette from the tray. I have financial interests in varied fields, she says. But since you ask, yes, I believe that we are at a point where economic stability and industrial change make fashion a timely investment. One need only look to the new picture magazines from Paris to see the future. Or the ragtag but daring style which our local bohemians construct from whatever they have in the wardrobe. Why do you ask? Are you looking for investment advice? A pained-looking waiter edges closer to your table, eyeing the 2 teapots. The prognosticator swirls the dregs in her cup. I do have another appointment, I'm afraid, so I must end this charming conversation here. Well, we shall say goodbye. Afternoon tea is over, apparently. Thank you for your time. I don't need an answer right now. Think it over, and if the opportunity suits you, come to Vale Garden Studios. Bring energy and lots of ideas. I may not be there to welcome you, I'm afraid, but I'll let the staff know you have passed the interview with flying colours. I'm so very glad that we had a chance meeting, my lady. You may not realise it yet, but you will be a great help to me. Good day. You watch the persistent prognosticator stride away. As interviewers go, she didn't ask many questions. Well, it's time for us to go to Vale Garden by the sounds of things. Visit the Abreo Couture. The address on the card is just behind St. Aegeus. The shared entrance appears a little low-key for an international fashion house. Still, time to make your entrance. We can either take the tour, the young man at the reception offers to show you around, or we can view the recent lines. Catalogues are kept at reception. The latest volumes contain some photographs in addition to the drawings. Let's take a tour. Abreo occupies the entire top floor of the building, with wide skylights that no doubt admitted generous amounts of sunlight before the fall. The design floor is an open central space, busy with staff at benches, hemming, seaming, pinning, starching, lining, and creating exquisite embroidery. The sewing happens here, the receptionist says. On the east side, offices overlook one of Vale Garden's more colourful thoroughfares. To the west is a fabric store and loading platform with a winch. You take a moment to savour the elevated view. Past the university to the shuttered palace. Our unique pieces are created in-house. Any manufacturing happens in Flowerdine. The receptionist seems anxious to return to his desk. Okay, well, we can examine the books. Your talk with the persistent prognosticator was light on financial specifics. The receptionist bites his lip. I don't have those figures to show you, he says. I do have a map of the surface which shows our clients' locations. He fetches the map and unfolds it before you can stop him. It covers his desk. Dots of gold and silver cluster in many European capitals, with a smattering across the Americas and Asia. Several clusters outline the southern tip of Africa. You ask again about the sales. The receptionist shrugs. The metallic dots glint as he folds up the map. Well, let's view the recent lines. The receptionist warms up as you page through the illustrated booklets. Last year was wonderful for sleeves, not a hint of ginget. The Tsarina herself ordered a ruby gown with spyglass sleeves, not her usual colour. We received an exquisite photograph of its debut appearance, and she is almost smiling. Page 11. His voice is low, reverent, as if the thought of this distant occasion soothes him, like a hot bath. He beckons you close and locks eyes with you. I shouldn't tell you this, but we received a note of thanks from her grandmother. It seems like it is time for us to meet our colleague. The head, a deputy head of design, has been looking forward to meeting you, the receptionist says, with a fragile smile. He seems reluctant to go closer than 30 feet. The woman is working with a mannequin, her fingers pulling fabric into a V-shaped waterfall on the small of its back. As you draw close, she gives you the same intense attention. Ah, the new head of design. Her tone could conjure ice crystals from the air. I am your deputy for the duration of your stay here. I'm very much looking forward to working with you. Excuse me if I don't shake hands at this moment. I've been working with this gather for 40 minutes, and I believe I finally have the correct folds. Incidentally, I understand your background is not in fashion. She inches her left hand out, transferring each contact point to the fingers of her right hand. Finally, with a decisive movement, she anchors the entire assembly with a single long pin. You are being disrespected by one of your staff, who, to be fair, has been unceremoniously pushed aside after years of distinguished service to make room for somebody the owner picked up off the street. How will you handle this? Okay, so we have 3 options. We can deal with this with respect. Of course, she has superior experience and skills. Your role is simply to provide a fresh perspective. We can, with reason. The situation is ridiculous. If you work together, you can get through it. With authority. It's not clear if you can fire her, but she should know you're willing to do it. Damn it. Let's go with reason, because this situation is ridiculous. The deputy head purses her lips. It is ridiculous, but I appreciate that you acknowledge that. If you're comfortable with straight talk, perhaps we can make this work. She steps away from the mannequin. We're finishing custom orders right now, but we have 3 themed lines to prepare. First, a Z-fairing look. Second, something inspired by academia. And finally, a lunch theme. I'm not entirely clear on that one. It sounds abysmal. As she talks through the schedule, she taps it off on her fingers. I suggest you collate ideas for the nautical line, and then we'll draw up some designs. You have a limited amount of design time. You can spend it on research around London or activities in the studio. I kind of want to take to the streets. But there's quite a lot of options here. The studio floor bustles with activity. Cutting, sewing, fitting, and experimental posing. Soon, all these seasoned professionals will put aside their work to create a range of clothing designed by you. Here we go. Consult a veteran seamstress. Industry research, field research. Why not just sketch up a couple of skirts and head to the pub? This will explain your options in more detail. It will not consume design time. He has grey hair, a monocle, and a half pint of gin in a bottle marked sewing machine oil. Do not borrow. He offers you a snifter as she considers your inquiry. Winging it certainly is an option, dear. If you have years of experience in the trade, you'll have accumulated a sense of the trends and appetites out there. And bold is good, but if you're inexperienced, think about it as blundering into a society event with no idea of who's there and what the protocols are. Here, you can study what the house has produced before, and if you're willing to take a walk, you can draw inspiration from style on the street. Of course, she takes another swig of her sewing machine oil. You get paid the same whether the collection is a hit or a flop. I kind of want to start just at the top and work down to see what they do. Let's just do that. We can visit the fabric room. It's important for every designer to understand the nature of the fabrics they work with. And if that fabric ended up coming home with you and was eventually sold at the bazaar for a tidy profit, then you would surely understand it very well. God damn it. Is this just stealing things? This is just stealing things, isn't it? This windowless but spacious chamber is lined with bales of cloth. Moving around, you scent exotic walls and feel the brush of velvet and silk. In the centre is placed a cutting table that offers more tools than the average operating theatre. The lamps have a clever arrangement of filters that can reproduce candlelight, phosphorescence, and gaslighting. It is thus possible to see a fabric's true colour in a variety of contexts. Options in this room provide rag trade items at lucrative rates. However, pursuing them will reduce the time available to work on your design. Okay, let's return to the studio. As much as I would like to steal all of their fabric, let's pass a moment with the Persistent Prognosticator, because I am curious where she's from. She often pronounces A as eh. Where did she get that accent? The Prognosticator notices your approach. Something I can do for you? Your polite social inquiry seems to surprise her. You're correct. I wasn't born in London. Africa, actually. I came here in search of innovative businesses. I thought everyone would be doing it, but there seems to be some resistance to descending into a bloody large hole in the ground. It turns out it's fine, provided you don't stay too long. Valid point. In Africa. Well, I got her accent horrendously wrong, but I can't do an African accent, so we're sticking with it. Let's research the competition. You're sure you've seen designs inspired by sailing before? The studio keeps records of previous collections by its competitors. Maybe you can find a reference in the books. Although traditional courtier houses are not so whimsical, you do find some precedent among the wilder, independent designers. Maison Rouge combined striped blouses with a white cloth cap. Hammer and Charm took inspiration from a children's pirate story to launch a brief but popular resurgence of the tricorn hat. The Artois de Coyer, is that a sash made from shark teeth? Interesting. Let's consult the deputy head on the nautical theme. Does the Z inspire her? She raises her eyebrow for a full 4 seconds before apparently deciding that your question is genuine. I'm sure you've worked out that these themes were not my idea. The nautical one is not intrinsically bad. The problem is that the house's key market is the nobility of European nations, and many of those already hold naval ranks, ceremonial or not. So they are unlikely to be interested in mock uniforms, but neither are they likely to be enthused by looking like a common sailor. 10 minutes thought would have revealed that this is not an appropriate theme for an Abreo collection, but our owner, it seems, did not have 10 minutes. You think about your meeting with the Persistent Prognosticator. The analysis seems spot on. Still, you now have an idea what not to do. We can examine the accounts. The accountant likes to take a long lunch. I am intrigued. You contemplate an elaborate ruse for entering the accounts office. Eventually you reason that you are the head of design, and you can breeze in anytime you like. The account books are shelved by year. Neat handwriting shows invoices sent and payments received. Once you dig through the balance sheets, you see what you may have already suspected. Abreo is hemorrhaging money. The problem is that many fine examples of European nobility are happy to receive a fashionable outfit, but they feel no pressure to pay their bills. Debt collection is awkward when your office is in a lightless cavern, miles beneath your customers. As you return the ledgers to the shelf, a thought strikes you. The Persistent Prognosticator is a seasoned investor, and these accounts were not hidden. Why would she throw so much money at a business which is so clearly sinking? There's going to be something else going on here, isn't there? Let's take to the streets. Catalogues are fine, but what is the well-dressed Londoner wearing? You head down the stairs away from the industry and creativity of the design floor. We can return later to design your collection. Ooh, we can visit the Admiralty. Well, that seems exciting. Surely you will see the finest dressed sailors there. We can watch a parade. A well-drilled column of uniformed sailors is passing by. Perhaps you can learn something for the catwalk. Polished shoes pound the road in unison. Pristine jackets and stiff trousers snap as the senior service passes by in full dress. Presented like this, what strikes you is the contrast between ranks. From the bicorn hats and gold epaulets of the officers to the ship's cap and sailor suits of the ratings. The hierarchy is explicit, but the massed group has a pleasing consistency, something to think about as you design your collection. Let's quickly nip around the back here. How do the officers dress when they are not on display? In a tight alley behind the kitchens, midshipmen are playing cards on a tea chest. Their blue coats are put aside, waistcoats unbuttoned. You take to the shadows and edge forward for a better look. After a few minutes studying from hiding, it occurs to you that stealth is not required. You swan up and ask if you might pass an idle hour by joining their game. The officers exchange glances, then one pulls you up a discarded box that says apples on the side. The game is jovial enough, and your fortunes come and go, but you do get a comprehensive look at their shirts, belts and gold lacing. You can visit the docks. The denizens of this place have seen it all, and they have their own seafaring style. Ooh, shall we have a look at Carganian uniforms? It's important not to be too parochial. Among all the grubby steamers, you see the elegant lines of a Carnet Trimerian. You find a spot on the roof of a dockside bar, and you can observe its deck. Warm light from electric bulbs banish the murk around the wharves. The Carganian ratings wear rather plain jackets and trousers. Looking closely, you see that many have an embroidered insignia of a leopard or occasionally a horse. The officers are a different story. Their coats have a proud, stylish cut which recalls drawings of legendary warriors posed in honourable battle. Some officers sport a shoulder decoration which is not quite an epaulette, more like a leopard's head watching their flank. We get drunk with a sailor. It is the time-honoured method for in-depth communication. You see these gib faces swanning around on the navy ships with their gold buttons and tight trousers. It's not like that on a working boat, unless you've got a sweetheart back home. You make your own breeches and maybe a jumper down to your knees for when you're handling the oily stuff. Caps are the sure sign of a sailor's mettle. I like a skull cap myself. Keeps the hair under control and never snags on anything. You do get the odd character, never stays with the ship long, surface caps from previous jobs, bowlers for the would-be engineers. I saw a reprobate in a Bubsby once. You want to understand a captain, check their hat. The wider it is, the more pleased they are with themselves, but it's fun to watch them struggle in a gale. Brilliant. Well, we've run out of time, let's return to the Abreo. We're out of research time, time to cast off. We can get started with the nautical collection. The deputy head of design awaits, staring at a toy ship somebody has left in the studio. So, the deputy head holds her pencil aloft. What direction should we take this? We can emphasize on a commanding presence. Barking orders under fire, the captain is a figure of respect and admiration. We can strike a romantic note. Feel a salty breeze as the bow splits the water. Out on the ocean wave, love is waiting. Possibly. Or we can indulge the bizarre. Unfathomable horrors lurk beneath the sea. Why not hint at them with your clothing? I've got to go with a commanding presence. Commanding. So something double-breasted with epaulets. No epaulets. Put some strength to the shoulder. The deputy head sketches. Flowing pencil lines giving way to detail and seams. A rigid collar, yes? And perhaps an asymmetrical skirt to differentiate from naval uniforms. You watch her as she works. Despite her demotion, you see she is committed to tuning your ideas into practical designs. Perhaps you can make this work. Or go down together. You've chosen a theme, but what about specifics? We can focus on weatherproofing. It's difficult to look commanding when you're drenched. We can accentuate the headwear. Authority, the hat size are closely related. Or you can use plenty of gold. There's a reason that the Navy adds stripes as you're promoted. I am torn. I am torn here between headwear, a really big hat, or gold. Well, I'm going to have to press gold. The studio has insufficient gold braid for your concept. An idle tailor is dispatched to the wholesalers with 8 empty sacks. Gold it is. The deputy head gives a thin smile. We'll circulate these designs to the staff for pattern making and assembly. I'll also arrange for the necessary press coverage. Take a day or two off and watch your letterbox. You've designed your Seafaring collection. Return to your lodgings and await an opportunity card bearing the press reaction. Oh dear. Hang on. Let me use some of these to clear up some space here. Refresh 10 actions. Thank you very much. An evening at the Clay Tailors. Hang on. Let me just eavesdrop. Probably going to fail. Oh, I succeeded. Wonderful. There's a little omen. I keep meaning to use that. Ah, the reviews are in. There it is. Perfect. Didn't have to mess around at all. The letterbox rattles and a package of papers slaps the hall floor. The Abreo office has assembled a cuttings file for you. Let's read them. Well, fair wind or doldrums? There's a lot to get through, but you turn to the translation of La Mode Illustrée. The original article reproduces your collection illustrations. Notable this week was the debut of a nautical collection by a mysterious new creative force at London's Abreo House, previously known for its highly exclusive garments featuring coveted Neathy fabrics. Bridge chic is the order of the day. A dashing jacket and skirt combination puts you firmly in charge, although the cut and heft feel rather derivative once the items are on. The elevated status of Abreo's clientele is reflected in this collection. It still surprises with its ostentatious use of gold detailing, and each individual item has an authentic character that reflects the designer's deep engagement with seafaring communities. You have moved to my lodgings. And a knock at the door. It's the constable's. Oh, never mind. No, it isn't. A caller at home. You open the door to a familiar face. Your employer. Sorry for dropping in unannounced, she says, as she breezes past you and takes your favourite chair. I just want to see how things are going. Well, let's ask what she thought of the Seafaring collection. The press has spoken, but they don't pay the bills. A broad smile breaks across her face. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. If I'd tasked the old Abreo team with this collection, they would never have used so much gold. She nods. Too timid. But your result speaks for itself. Dazzling and so timeless. I'm sure we'll be seeing those items for years to come. Well, let's ask about the themes. The nautical theme seems coherent. Perhaps you can do something with academia, but lunch? The prognosticator nods. Abreo is too dependent on a restricted clientele. Imagine, for instance, that the Cumane Canal were to be broken or blocked. Our exports would be completely wiped out and it would spell the end of the business. So, it's important to diversify the business into a wider market. And that was one of the reasons that you were brought in. Everyone loves the ocean. Everybody wants to seem intelligent. And everybody enjoys lunch. She's not wrong. The persistent prognosticator checks her pocket watch. Was there anything else? Why are you here? You came here. You can't be like, she can't turn up and then be like, when can I leave? We can either thank her for a gracious visit. It was good of her to come, and she didn't outstay her welcome. No sense in risking a lucrative job with an ugly confrontation. Or we can intercept her at the door. Something is not what it seems here, and you deserve answers. I'm going to go with that one. You stop her as she reaches the doorknob. No serious investor pulls a stranger off the street and puts them in charge of a prestigious business. What is she up to? Her congenial manner does not slip an inch. I find you worthy of my confidence. If you lack that confidence in yourself, I believe Dr. Shlomo can help. Now if you'll excuse me, I have a patent waiting. The door closes briskly behind her. It's time to get started on your second collection. Return to Abreo in Vale Garden, where you could start your research at the university. But I think I'm going to end this episode here, so thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Let me know what you think. Your comments are greatly appreciated. And as always, I'll see you next time.